So there is a common misconception when it comes to studying any auditing module. So whether you're at a second, a third year, or PGDA level, many students seem to think that auditing is a theory concept, right? And very much theory driven. Well, I hate to break it to you, that couldn't be further from the case. In fact, auditing as a subject is very much application based and can come across as very abstract, which is probably why students struggle to study, right? So that being said, let me give you some of my top tips when it comes to studying auditing that I think every auditing student should probably know about. I would say the first thing that you need to consider is the way that you study, right? So many students like to study the theory and they like to memorize things a lot, which I can see the appeal, because if you are a second year student, you'll start off with something called cycles, which is very theory based and it feels like you're just studying a whole lot of content, right? But the thing about memorizing something, like most technology these days, when you need your memory, it probably will fail you. So your best thing to actually do is understand the principles and purpose behind what you're studying. So when you study any theory-driven topic, it's really good to understand, why am I doing this particular thing and why is it important in the real world? You must also remember that if you're going to be an auditing student, you're most likely going to be doing auditing out in the real world. So yes, while you need to pass an exam, it might be a good idea to know what's going on so that you'll be able to do it in the real world. Now that brings me to my second tip. I would always say that with a subject like auditing, visualization can really help you. It's a lot of words, it's a lot of reading, there are a lot of standards that you need to look at. So when you are in a test and exam, it's a good idea to get a basic layout of what's happening in that scenario. And that really comes from getting an overall picture. So I would recommend draw a little flowchart or just a little picture that takes maybe 2 minutes just to get an idea of what's going on in the company and how does the transaction land in the financial statements. That helps you to actually break down what you actually need to be doing for a particular question. Which brings me to my absolute last point. Please, I'm going to say this very, very slowly. Please, for the love of God, read your requireds carefully. Read your scenarios carefully. And I don't mean surface level reading. I mean read with insight. Now, when you read with insight, that means that you should be able to explain this down to a 5-year-old. And if you can't do that, then you don't understand what you're doing and you need to go back to the drawing board. That's the easiest way to capitalize on your marks and really grasp the concept. Now, as I said, auditing can come across as very abstract, right? And you need to understand that it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a change from what you're usually used to. But you shouldn't be afraid of change. In fact, I think you should embrace it. And you must also understand that your learning styles might change year on year, and not all learning styles or study approaches are created equally. So what might work for a subject like financial accounting might not be very appropriate when you're trying to study auditing. So just give yourself a little bit of grace, find what works for you, and lean into that space of being uncomfortable, and I think you'll do just fine. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed my couple of tips. I hope that helps you out a little bit with auditing, and may the odds ever be in your favor. Thank you.